From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight,
Bimbo Oloede.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, PDP drops a bombshell, suspends Olagunsoye Oyinlola and 3 others for anti-party activities. Katsina lawmakers continue to battle for entry into the National Assembly, approach INEC for certificates of return. Finance Minister calls Nigeria an investment haven, dismisses insecurity sentiments. And the President of Philippines declares a national calamity emergency to speed up relief efforts for victims of Typhoon Haiyan.
In our business news tonight, President Jonathan's 2014 budget presentation to the National Assembly has been postponed.
And on sports news tonight, the prestigious season-ending ATP World Tour Finals produces another showdown between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic.
From Abuja, President Jonathan gives thumbs up to the National Assembly for being a pillar in nation building. Plus, less than 1 week to the crucial Anambra governorship contest, the candidates heighten campaigns. Just as Nigerians were waiting to receive the news of the likely reinstatement of Olagunsoye Oyinlola as the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the national body of the party appears to be sending him further away by announcing his indefinite suspension from the party. Briefing journalists in Abuja today, the party said that Oyinlola and 3 others have consistently engaged in anti-party activities. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Olisa Metu, said that others also suspended are Kawu Baraje, Sam Jaja and Ibrahim Kazare. He said that all the officials have been referred to the PDP Disciplinary Committee for further investigation. It will be recalled that an appeal court in Abuja had delivered a judgment asking the party to reinstate Olagunsoye Oyinlola as the party's national secretary.
After the National Working Committee, in line with its constitutional rights and the provisions of the constitutions, has, after preliminary hearings, as stated in our constitution, suspended forthwith from the PDP the following: 1. Alhaji Abubakar Karawu Baraje. 2. Dr. Sam Jaja. 3. Dr. Olugosoye Oyinlola. And 4thly, Ambassador Ibrahim Kazare. The suspension of these 4 members of the National Executive Committee, because of their past positions in the party, past and present, wherein they are members of the national, and according to our constitution, it's only the national that can make pronouncement on it, is for breach of sections 58(1), B, G, H, and I. The provisions of our constitution were stated that anyone who does or says anything likely to bring the party, the PDP, into disrepute, hatred, or contempt has committed a disciplinary offense. Anyone who engages in disorderly conduct at meetings or rallies or at any party function, including walkout at convention, staging a walkout, is engaging in disorderly conduct, is guilty of an offense against our constitution. 58(1)(h), anyone who engages in any conduct likely to cause disaffection among members of the party or is likely to disrupt the peaceful, lawful, and efficient conduct of the business of the party has committed an offense.
Meanwhile, the National Secretary of the new PDP, Mr. Olagunsoye Oyinlola, has been reacting to his suspension by the Bamanga Tukur-led PDP. Mr. Oyinlola, in a statement, described his suspension as a display of the impunity the party's aggrieved members are protesting against, adding that none of the people suspended had been queried for any alleged offense. He argued that if the suspension was predicated on the issue of their breaking away from the party, the serving governors, senators, and members of the House of Representatives, who have also been very vocal, ought not to have been left out. He added that the decision is an attempt to circumvent the ruling of the Court of Appeal, vowing that the last has not been heard about the matter. Well, the suspension may come as disappointing news to the G7 aggrieved governors, but they do seem to be insisting that Olagunsoye Oyinlola must be reinstated as National Secretary of the PDP. Earlier in their meeting today in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, the members met and resolved that one condition for peace to reign is for Mr. Oyinlola to return to his former position. The appeal court had last week ruled that the party reinstate him. Some of those at the meeting were Governor of Kano State, Rabiu Kwankwaso, River State Governor Rotimi Amechi, the Sokoto State Governor Aliyu Wamako, Dr. Muazu Aliyu of Niger State, and Abdul Fattah Ahmed, the Kwara State Governor.
We're very happy with what has happened, and the Secretary General will resume his office appropriately after all due process have been covered. And we think it's a vindication of what has been transpiring, because all along the issues were issues of due process, issues of reform, and we're happy that the court has done this for us. So we look forward to resolutions and future resolutions of matters.
A federal high court sitting in Kaduna has slated January the 20th, 2014 for a hearing on a petition brought before it by two members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who are seeking an order of the court to restrain President Goodluck Jonathan from contesting the 2015 presidential election. The plaintiffs, Richard Tersu and Shuaibu Lili, had filed a suit at the Federal High Court, Kaduna, asking it to disqualify Dr. Jonathan from presenting himself as a presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2015 election. They also want the court to order the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to restrain the PDP from accepting any nomination of President Jonathan as a presidential candidate in the 2015 election. In a suit filed on October the 7th, the PDP chieftains insisted that President Jonathan had completed his first tenure in office as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having expired at the end of the four-year tenure calculated from May 29, 2007. At the first sitting where the case was mentioned today, the presiding judge, Justice Evelyn Anyadike, after hearing the submissions made by counsel to the plaintiffs and INEC, adjourned the case to 20th January 2014 for hearing, owing to the absence of the counsel to President Jonathan and PDP in court. Still on legal matters, the embattled lawmakers from Katsina State, now referred to as the Katsina 10, have asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to respect the rule of law and issue them with their certificates of return. This, they insist, is to enable them occupy their rightful positions in the National Assembly as ruled by a federal high court in Abuja since January 2013. The lawmakers who were duly elected in the April 9th to 2011 elections on the platform of the defunct CPC were ousted from office following an intra-party pre-election dispute. But in spite of the judgment that they be allowed back at the National Assembly, INEC is yet to issue them certificates of return, an action the lawmakers describe as utter disrespect of the rule of law.
INEC, on the advice of its legal team, both some members of staff in the legal department and a group of legal consultants stamped the legal consortium erroneously and in negation to extant laws issued certificate of return to a group of people that were never candidates and did not participate in the general election of 9th April 2011. This was clearly in violation of section 68, 75 and 141 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. We wish to assure INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, which has made it a habit to interpret court judgments as well as the leadership of the National Assembly, who puts partisanship ahead of the rule of law, that we will pursue this matter to its logical conclusion, whatever that may entail.
Moves by former River State Governor Celestine Omeha to unseat the incumbent Rotimi Amechi have suffered yet another setback. The Supreme Court has deferred till January the 7th, 2014, judgment in the appeal brought by Governor Amechi against Mr. Omeha's legal efforts to nullify his election. The 5-member panel of judges, led by Justice Muntaka Kumasi, fixed the date after hearing the submissions of the counsels to the appellants and respondents at the resumed hearing of the consolidated suits. The counsel to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olusola Oke, sought the court's permission for extension of time to enable him file and serve his respondent's brief and to adopt the briefs already filed and served. In part 2, after the break, I'll be joined by Gloria Umezioke from our Abuja studios, plus the House of Representatives to give more funds to the health sector in Budget 2014. That's in a moment. Do join us again.